Well, we're still on the heath, and you have to press. Law lectures continue. Number 2, the UK US criminal justice system 2020 versus the Code of Hammurabi 1754 BCE. On the one hand, we have a modern constitutional republic of the US and a constitutional monarchy of the UK versus King Hammurabi, the ancient writer of laws and edicts, favoured less the decree and more the statute, or the stele as they called them in those days. Your reading list, well, the cases, the statutes and the treaties are the same as lecture number 1. There is the addition of a good translation, there are many modern ones of the Code of Hammurabi, which the latter ones most probably more accurate in terms of their translation skills, we think. So in the ancient Babylonian stele that they found, it's carved with cuneiform script nearly 4,000 years ago in a language known as Akkadian. It details in great detail the 282 laws, which had a scale punishment based on your class and your gender. The most severe punishments were reserved for women and slaves, naturally. These punishments ranged from the financial restitution, often favoured by those with finance, the removal of limb, breast, tongue, ear, eye, or tooth, and the capital punishments included boiling, burning at the stake, hanging, beheading, mutilation, evisceration and stoning. A spectacle would be made with public execution, which was once thought to be a deterrent. Well, if we fast forward nearly 4,000 years, in the 2020 United States, they have many punishments for lesser offences. They have a prison population swelled by the demands of private capital and private prisons. And currently, in a lot of states, they favour very gruesome punishments, including, there's a long list, lethal injection, gassing, electrocution, hanging, firing squad, life imprisonment, isolation, torture, so-called suicide, and sedation. Meanwhile, in the constitutional monarchy, that is the UK, in 2020, we have the favourite of the UK ruling class is the malicious prosecution. Now show trials are back in fashion. We have life imprisonment in the UK, we have isolation, we have torture, we have the so-called suicide option, and sedation of those who appear somewhat unsuitable for incarceration. And I hear this is still very, very popular. Sorry about that, little kerfuffle. EF Press has come after many years of study and historical research, and in my research I have discovered that evolved civilizations have a civilian government which closely controls any military interest, and also where these most severe punishments are considered barbaric, cruel and very unusual. And the rule of law demands the same rule for prince or pauper. On the plus side, 1754 BCE, Hammurabi understood some concepts to his credit. He introduced the concept of the rule of law, if not the rule of law itself, with legal precedent, a presumption of innocence, and evidential examination, which established rights for the accused unheard of in second millennia BC. In the UK and the US, unfortunately, have abandoned these long-held rights and prefer the Hammurabi punitive program of a pre-biblical nature. This is getting bad, hang on. There we go, it's getting a bit wet, I'm getting wet everywhere. I shall try and wrap this up quickly, sorry about this. So the credit, he had a presumption of innocence and the evidential examination and these rights of the accused. But in 2020, we now have to live with death, isolation, torture, sedation as routine, unexceptional in planning or execution. So in conclusion, what they've done to Julian Assange in order to silence his voice, WikiLeaks and supporters, I don't think would stand up to Hammurabi's code if it were applied today. Sorry this video's got a bit wet, it's got a bit stumbling, it's got a bit page turning. But once again, Julian Assange faces the US-UK criminal justice at its most brutal and compliant. And then we have a message to Judge Babylonia on the 4th of May hearing, let my people go. Free Julian Assange. EF Press out, about, shout. There he goes. Stop this bloody thing.